Stand on the corner, low down blues, great big hole in the bottom of the shoes. Let me be your sorry dog. Let me be your sorry dog. I don't want to be your man at all. Let me be your sorry dog. Everyone said, oh, you want sucking and something shoes. I have to be your sorry dog. Let me be your sorry dog. I don't want to be a man at all. Let me be your sorry dog. Okay, a little bit of Sorry Dog Blues, not perfect, but by any means, but these aren't meant to be perfect. This is improvisation. I'm teaching you how to improvise. The more you do it, the better you get. But this is, first thing I need to say, this is not Sorry Dog Blues as played by Flatt and Scruggs. This is, while influenced strongly by that because I grew up on Flatt and Scruggs, this is really more the old blues version from about 1900 or so. It's in the key of C. If you're playing with a bluegrass band, they're probably going to play it in a more bluegrassy key, G, maybe A, probably D, but most likely G actually. Your banjo player is going to pick the key on that. Why? Because it's an Earl Scruggs song. Whenever there's an Earl Scruggs song, your banjo player is going to pick the key. Just like if it's a mandolin song in bluegrass, if it's a Bill Monroe song, the mandolin player is going to pick the key. If it's a fiddle tune, the fiddle tune player is going to pick the key. You got to be flexible in this way, okay? If it's in D, obviously just change the chords, move the chords, then I play it up one. If it's in G, you're going to have to move them around. If it's in A, you're going to move up one from that. It's no big deal. The point of this is the cycle of fifths. This song, like I said, it's a hokum tune. It's a very fun tune. It was a tune that was popular in medicine shows and minstrel shows in the 1920s. Maybe before that. I mean, really, those shows went from like the 1850s up until the 1930s. I mean, medicine shows and minstrel shows are an incredible part of our culture that were a whole lot of fun. And really, that blending of blues and jazz and country created American music. People may get offended now because of the blackface performers in minstrel shows. I understand that. I get that. But you cut that out of our history and we don't have American music. Those were cultures coming together, like it or not. When cultures come together, there's some friction. There's some clashing. That's just life. You know, you take the best from it. Don't focus on the worst of it. Anyway, this lesson is going to be a little bit about how to play this tune, but a lot about the cycle of fifths. Cycle of fifths was really the sound of the 1920s. Probably before then and a little after then, but we know it because recorded music began around 1916. Records in the 1920s are our document of early American music. And we know the cycle of fifths was incredibly popular. What is the cycle of fifths? Well, there are two ways of looking at it. If I am playing, let's say G7, you hear how it wants to resolve to C. Okay? That's because G7 is the fifth of C. C, D, E, F, G. Your ear pulls from G7 to C. There's technical reasons, like the science of music behind that. It's not important for our benefit right now, but C, D, E, F, G. Well, what's a fifth up from G? G, A, B, C, D. So D7 wants to pull to G7 the same way G7 wants to pull to C. We'll take it up to A. So, okay, what's the fifth up from there? E7. And now you've got the cycle of fifths. Each chord you're playing is essentially a fifth from the one behind it. Now, in the old books, especially the ones from the 20s and 30s and such, it was not called the cycle of fifths, it was called the cycle of fourths. And I want to tell you this, while it may confuse you and it may confuse others, it's actually a more logical way of thinking about it. So it may not be the music theory way of thinking about it, but it's a way that will help you learn it faster. Because if I'm, say, playing E7, where's A7 from E7? Let me get rid of this pick here because I have to speak. E, F, G, A. It's 4 up. So essentially you can think of it as 5 back or 4 up. Okay? To A7. Where's the D7? I keep doing that. A, B, C, D. It's 4 up. And the G7, okay, G, A, B, C. Again, the C is just 4 up from G. So if it's easier for you to think of it in terms of 4, because all you have to do is count 4 up from the chord you're on, do so. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're talking to other musicians, they're probably going to call it the cycle of fifths because that's how it's taught these days. It doesn't matter. It's either 5 back or 4 up. Yeah. Call it whatever you like. So in the key of C, we're going to start on E7, A7, D7, G7, C. Or I don't know. Wherever you want to play the C. Play it however you like. This is such an easy thing to do on the mandolin because it's tuned in fifths. G, D, A, E. I was watching an old Eddie Davis video, tenor banjo player, the other day, and he explained it in such a simple way. You remember there's this symmetry on the neck of the mandolin on any fifths tuned instrument like a tenor banjo. I can play, all right, so I can play C7 here. Is that right? Yeah. D flat. Yeah, I was bending the string a little bit. All right, so, or I can play it here. The fingers reverse. Let's see, if I've got a G7 here with the F on top. Well, it's here. So I can actually play D. I'm sorry, I was off, but I've been playing banjo all week, and the strings are tuned differently. It should have been here, obviously. So we can play our sevens just going just like that. So we can also play them like this. The symmetrical tuning of a fifths tuned instrument means we can absolutely mirror. Like, you know how a mirror reverses things? So from here to here. And we can actually, because we're playing the 7th and we're playing the 3rd, we can double it for a really interesting sounding, technically correct 7th that doesn't have a root or 5 in it. So we could go, you know, if we wanted to. But it's so easy to play the cycle of fifths because as just taking these 2 notes, because of the tuning of the mandolin, it perfectly works down the cycle of fifths. So if I was playing Solid Dog Blues, I don't have to do full chords. Now, I encourage you to do full chords because you're going to find those arpeggios that help you play those solos. But so I'm going here. I can just as easily go I mean, any combination, you're going E7, A7, D7, G7, C. Now, next interesting little thing about the mandolin. Arpeggio. Watch how symmetrical these are across the neck. I'm not saying this is the most exciting solo in the world, but knowing how to play it in different keys and different ways of varying the notes will give you, anytime you're playing the cycle of fifths, a really easy go-to in any key, in any song, and it's going to sound right because you're following the chords. So first I'm going to arpeggiate, essentially, E, G, and I'm using the A. You could use the B, but I don't like the sound of it. So I'm actually playing more of like a, what's the E, F, G, A, the fourth, I guess. So, which technically would become an 11th. We don't need to get into that. But anyway, I like the sound of that. If you like it with the B, do it. I don't. I don't like the B there. So, and you may wonder why I'm lifting my finger. It's because when I play the open A, a lot of times it'll be muted, damped a little bit because of just the shape of my hands, I guess. So I'm starting by holding down on. Play it however works for you. If you want to hold the finger down the whole time, do it. And if you want to alter, play a different note, do it. So, but anyway, I walk down for the C. I've established we're in the key of C now because I started by playing a C note. And when I started out, I went from a full C chord just for fun. Could do any number of C's. I mean, whatever you like, right? If that floats your boat, right? And then I went into the chorus. That's it. I'm literally playing arpeggios. E arpeggio. A arpeggio, starting with an open A. D arpeggio with the open D. G arpeggio with an open G. And then walk down for the C here. And do it again. Finish up on a C chord, and then we're back to singing. And then, for fun, let's just play a little chordal type melody. Remember I said we can play our E7 here with the pinky on the B note? Yeah, you can move that around though. So. A7 with the A on top, and we'll just D7 with the A on top, G7, and really, depending on where you are in the song, you don't have to resolve to C. We go. May even sound better. Yeah, why not? Yeah, so, see, cycle of fifth songs are really fun. They're really loose. You have this basic chord structure you're moving over, so you can really do whatever you want over that. You can play them all over the neck. The symmetrical nature of the mandolin means that the chords are always going to be the same in relation to each other. Like I said, if I wanted to play this in D, I just move it up 2 frets, do the same thing. Same if I wanted to go to E, or if I'm in G, I can. I mean, it's movable. Again, the symmetrical nature means if you learn the solo in one key, you can easily play it in another key just by moving your fingers up and down or over one when you get to a certain point. It opens up a whole world of songs. In bluegrass, you're going to know, well, obviously this one. You're going to know Alabama Jubilee. You know, there's another one. I think, what did I play last week? I think I did something in Cycle of Fists recently that was more one that you might find in bluegrass as well. It's just not coming. Oh, no, I mentioned Sweet Georgia Brown. Sweet Georgia Brown uses a Cycle of Fists. In early jazz, there's so many. 5'2", Eyes of Blue is a song I play. Same chord pattern. 5'2", eyes blue, know what those 5 feet can do. Has anybody seen my gal? Yeah, ex-girlfriend was 5'2", eyes of blue, looked like a Barbie doll. Prettiest thing you ever seen in your life. So she said, "Can you play me a song?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know. What would I do?" She never heard it before, and she thought it was amazing and just melted. So, good reason to know tunes. Anyway, Cycle of Fists, very, very, very useful. This is all in my book. Details, more of how to play it and why you can play it and when it's appropriate. A lot of Western swing songs will have a standard progression end with a Cycle of Fists. Just, it's almost like shaving a haircut. It just puts the period on the end of the sentence. A lot of songs from the 20s especially. And learn it. It's another tool in your toolbox, but it's one of the most fun and really super easy on a fifth-tuned instrument. I mean, we're... Same chord. I don't know where... There we go, yeah. Bob Wills tunes often ended that way. It's really makes you sound like you know what you're doing, and it's just a trick. It's just it works because of the tuning of the instrument. But you can play Cycle of Fists on any instrument. It's just super easy on these. Maybe I'll show it on tenor banjo sometime in the future. But for now, that's our mandolin video. Have fun with this tune, and I'll talk to you next week. As always, if you got any questions, email me, leave a comment or question in the comments section below the video. I'll get right back with you. And I'll talk to you all next time.